The N2 class was introduced in 1920 to the design of Sir Nigel Gresley, who was the chief mechanical engineer for the Great Northern Railway. After the grouping on January 1st, 1923, the GNR became part of the new Big Four company, the London and North Eastern Railway, to which Gresley also became the chief mechanical engineer. The N2s would still be built in regular numbers until 1929, when the 107th member of the class rolled out of the works. The class was designed for suburban traffic in and around London out of King's Cross. This was because the areas outside of London that also had suburban services required more powerful locomotives for the task. These areas were considered a major source of business for the railway, and every indication that was given pointed towards those areas flourishing in the next few decades. However, a problem came about when the N2s were cited as being able to travel on the Metropolitan lines in London. The problem was that steam from the funnels of taller engines would hit the tunnel roof and have steam build a wall of smoke that would linger in the tunnels, causing health problems such as asthma. This steam issue would remain a problem until sufficient electric engines were introduced in the early 1930s. To solve the N2 steam pooling issue, condensing gear was fitted to the engines to reduce the amount of exhaust steam released in the tunnels. The N2s were a development of the older and smaller Ivet N1s of 1906, but had some modifications which included larger cylinders and piston valves, a superheated boiler, and a larger water capacity. To clear the larger cylinders, the boiler was placed higher, which meant that a more squat funnel was needed to clear the Metropolitan loading gauge working into Moorgate. Also, the N2s carried the condensing gear they are known for running on the fore end of the smoke box to the tanks, adding to their already powerful looking appearance. The London N2s remained on the King's Cross to Moorgate empty stock workings until 1958. 40 of the class were built to work local services in Glasgow, Edinburgh and Dundee. These were built without the condensing gear, had taller funnels and carried Westinghouse brakes. In the 1930s, some of these Scottish locomotives were displaced by the larger and more powerful V1 Prairies, also built by Gresley, and were moved to Hatfield, Leeds and the former Great Eastern Railway lines, the GNR's greatest competitor. The dieselisation of the services out of King's Cross led to the London N2s being moved to either Peterborough or Grantham to replace the older N5 062 tanks from the Great Central Railway, Gresley's first railway, on pilot duties. Despite them being powerful engines and beloved by engine crews, the time was up by 1955. The first group of N2s would be withdrawn in 1955, and the bulk withdrawals would continue for nearly a decade until 1962, when the last N2 was withdrawn from service. The class was almost completely eradicated until number 69523 was preserved by the Gresley Society in October 1963. Number 69523, formerly LNER number 4744 and GNR number 1744, is now preserved at the North Norfolk Railway along with other LNER stock.